And the Wolfman, I was fortunate enough, nothing was glued on me. You know, it was a helmet piece that I put on with servos, and I had all the servos were in my back. That's why it looks like he's got this big, huge back. I mean, all the servos were stuck in my back, and it was kind of freaky. I got a great story about about getting that part. If you got a minute.
Oh, definitely.
Well, when I got cast to do that thing, you know, they got to do a full body cast of you from head to toe, and you know. It's one of those things I asked them. I mean, they asked me, "Are you claustrophobic?" And I said, "No, I don't think so." And you don't know until they start putting you into it. You know?
Right.
And it was a 4-hour process to wrap you like you got a broken leg. It's the same plaster cast they wrap you head to toe. And I got to the top, man, and I started getting kind of a little weird, you know. And I was really committed to do this part, you know. And I hung in there when they split the cast down the center after, and literally almost fell to the ground because my body had like fallen asleep, you know. Well, the night before the shoot, after they made I'd gone back later and they did another head cast for the headpiece, and it was like 2 days before the shoot. I remember them calling me up there, and it was going to be the first time that I was going to put the helmet piece on, you know, for the fitting. And this thing is completely fit to my head. It won't fit nobody else's head. It fits like a glove to my head. Well, I put it on, and I freaked out. I remember this movie when I was a kid, and then nobody to this day has told me what the movie is. This is a movie where a guy puts on a mask, and all of a sudden it starts getting tighter and tighter, and it just crushes his head.
Oh, yep, that was in, it was a Vincent Price movie, I think.
Yes.
Might have been the second Dr. Phibes.
Yeah, he puts the mask on, and it just starts crushing his head, right?
It's like a frog mask, right?
Right.
And yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah, that's the
I'm telling you, man,
Phibes movie.
I put the Wolfman head, you know, the headpiece on my head, and that's the first thing that came to my mind, and I freaked out. I pulled it off, and I said, "There's something in there." And, you know, and the guys, they looked inside, and they're putting their hands in there, and they go, no, it's okay. I was freaking out. I was like going, man, I'm either going to, you know, because I can't get anybody else. And I was like going, oh, no, they're going to, well, this is just a mess. I can't wear this thing, you know. I was like, I had to like calm down, and I had to tell myself, you know something, I want to do this part so bad. I'm going to I'm sorry.
No, you can say anything you want here.
I'm going to die in this thing if I have to, because I want to do this, you know. So, and the ironic thing was, I put it on, and I worked my way through it. And then later, when I was on the set, they would come over to me and they'd ask me if I want to take it off, and I didn't want it off after, because I was more comfortable in it later, because nobody knew who I was. So it was kind of an ironic thing. I didn't want it on at first, and then later on, I didn't want it off. So.
They mentioned that Dracula and Frankenstein, that they left the makeup on all the time in front of the kids. They didn't want them to see them out of it. Were you the same way?
I stayed in it most of the time, you know, just because, for my own reasons. I don't know if they always pulled me aside anyways. I had like 2 guys guiding me around. I was literally blind in that thing. The eyes are actually much wider than human beings' eyes, and those are glass eyes in there that are run by servos. And my eyes, I mean, I was looking at the bridge, through the bridge of the nose with 2 tiny little slots, and then there was hair all over it. So it was, the visibility was like, you know, maybe 5%. And so they all, you know, I always had 2 guys guiding me around everywhere I went, you know. And after I was done, pretty much, they took me off to the side. And
wow.
It was pretty tough to me. And you know, that scene in the phone booth was a pretty, that was a one take deal. It was candy glass. It was 4 in the morning.
When you transform?
Yeah, and it was the busting out of the telephone booth.
Yeah.
And Peter Hines was directing that, second unit. And I remember, you know, and I had to take hot coffee, drink it, hold it in my mouth, because that's what gave me the steam when I howl at the moon.
Oh.
And so I'm bent over. This is a good friend of mine who was an actor was there with me, and they were like, they just wanted to go home that night for some reason or whatever, and I was like, and he says, okay, you're gonna. And just prior to that, I tripped over some crates they had, because somebody had put some crates there. I literally fell over. I could have really, you know, gotten hurt really bad, and they moved the crates, and I don't think they realized how blind I was in this thing. I think they took it for granted I could see really well, which I couldn't. And I was going to do this thing, and I had to be bent over. I had to bust the glass out. I had to step outside, hit my mark, howl at the moon, holding that coffee in the perfect moment so you could see the steam, turn around and run around the gas pumps and up the road. And I was telling my buddy, I'm gonna mess this thing up so bad. And he goes, oh man, he walked me through it and he hit my marks. And I remember just before they, called action, I said, I'm either gonna nail this thing or it's gonna be a mess. and if you break the candy glass, that's like a 5-hour deal to reset it all again. They said, if it was a one-thing deal, if we didn't do it, we're gonna have to come back the next night and try it again. And the whole thing came off perfect. I mean, just nailed it, right on the money. Everybody was clapping after. It was a really good night.